Good morning, Amit sir.
Hello, I'm audible, guys.
Yes, sir. Yeah, now you're audible.
Okay. All right.
So
There was
I'm
some issue with the mic.
making you the host, and then we can start the session, sir.
All right.
Done, sir. You can start the session.
All right. Thank you. Hello, guys. Good morning. And I welcome you all to this demo session, which is on Linux fundamentals. Basically, we will be preparing for RHCSA exam. And don't worry, I'll guide you through all these terms like what is RHCSE, RHCSA, what is RHEL, Linux, etc., etc. Okay. So just allow me a second. Let me share my screen. All right. I hope it is visible. Okay. So Linux fundamentals. So what exactly is the Linux operating system? Why should you learn it? What are the benefits? And what about the job prospects? Especially if you're a fresher, learning Linux, will it help you get your first job or not? Or maybe you're a working professional. Switching to Linux and related technologies, will it help you grow in your career or not? So maybe these are the questions in your head right now. Sorry. So, I mean, I'll try my best to give you the clarity. Okay. So starting with what exactly is the Linux operating system? Okay. Before that, my introduction, I'm sorry. So my name is Amit, and with 13 plus years of industry experience, uh, just a second. With 13 years, more than 13 years of industry experience, I am now into architecture. I design automations, Linux servers, and other components in the environment. So basically, I started as a Linux administrator, okay, and then slowly, got promoted, upscaled, and therefore I'm the architect right now, okay, and I design systems solutions based on automation, okay, as well as I'm RHCSA certified, RHCE certified, and certifications in other domains as well. Okay, so what is Linux actually? Linux operating system. Just like you have your operating system on your phone, on your laptop, just like that, there is another operating system, Linux. Okay, like Android on phones or iOS on phones, Windows on laptops. Most of the user laptops have Windows, right? Or Mac OS. Likewise, there is Linux operating system. So what is so good about Linux that when you are into job hunting, so everyone is asking for Linux operating system. So why didn't you learn it during the school time and all? See, Linux is a specialized operating system. Okay, Linux in general is an open source operating system. Okay, and then big companies like Red Hat, SUSE, they converted this open source Linux operating system into enterprise level operating system, making it as a specialized operating system for the servers. Okay, so I'll tell you the story how it began actually. Okay, so uh, back in 1960 or 70, in that era, there was a really popular operating system by the name Unix, UNIX, developed by Dennis Ritchie, the father of C language and all, right? So that at that time, Unix operating system had many advanced features. I'm talking about 1960, 70. Features like multi-user support, multitasking support, security, and whatnot. And it was a really efficient operating system at that time. Okay, computers were not the same as we have right now. They were a bit different. The method of storing data, retrieving data, and displaying the data was a bit different. Okay, but yes, computers were adapted by government organizations. Various departments were using for data processing and all, for storing information. Okay, so efficient operating system was required, where multiple users, or we can say employees, could log in and do their day-to-day work, right? So Unix operating system was designed and was adapted. It was a huge success because of its performance, security features, multi-user features, and multitasking features, right? Okay, so at that time when Unix was popular and more, or was getting even more popular, many developers were also. Guys, let me mute everyone. So many developers, they were also interested to know how this Linux operating system is working, right? And many of them also tried to kind of create a clone, a proper clone, right? So on the same ground, Linus Torvalds. Okay, so Linus Torvalds was a what do you call it? A student at that time, learning engineering and all. Okay, so he was also interested and wanted to create a Unix-like operating system. Okay, so in 1991 he was able to do that. Okay, and he created the main component of the Unix operating system, or we can say he named it as Linux. So created the main component of Linux operating system known as kernel. Okay, so this kernel is a program which talks to the hardware. Even in your phones, there is a kernel. You go to settings about, you will see kernel version, software version, right? Even in iPhones, Androids, even Windows, some sort of kernel is there. So without kernel, things won't work. Kernel is that component which is going to talk to the hardware and get the job done. Example, on your phone, if you click on Bluetooth button, Bluetooth gets activated. You click it again or you tap it again, it gets deactivated. So who is doing that? You are just playing at the UI level. You are seeing the UI, but what is happening in the background? In the background, kernel gets the instruction that user wishes to turn on the Bluetooth. So kernel is going to talk to the Bluetooth component, which is on the motherboard of your phone. Okay, and then it will instruct that module to turn it off and then turn it on, right? So that is the kernel component. Okay, so this kernel, which is the core component of Linux, that was developed, okay, and was made open source. Open source is anyone can download the source code, make changes to this program, okay, and then republish it or redistribute it. So because of this, many developers downloaded Linux kernel, okay, and they modified it, added few more commands, and they started using it. It was a fun way to learn operating system development, also have an alternative in the market. Okay, and because of this feature, many companies also thought of having this operating system as a full-fledged enterprise level operating system by adding security components and all the good features around it. Okay, and because of the scope of this Linux kernel, big names like Red Hat, they started working on an entirely new operating system. Okay, so Red Hat's fundamental, or we can say the idea behind Red Hat, is to work on open source technologies, best of the best open source technologies, and convert it into a enterprise level software, or we can say product. Okay, for example, they used Linux kernel. They are still using the Linux kernel because the kernel gets updated time to time. Okay, so they use Linux kernel from Linus Torvalds. Okay, and they modify it. Modify in the sense they add more commands, more security features, and more such features which support the business load. Okay, and then they present the Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is meant for the servers, which can handle business load. Business load means what? Let's say you have developed an application, okay, and it's running on a server. Okay, server hardware I'm talking about. On that server hardware, there is the Linux operating system, maybe Red Hat Linux or some other Linux. Okay, so let's say the incoming connection to that application is like per second 1000 connection or 2000 connections per second. Okay, so these many people are trying to connect to that application. So if the operating system is not optimized for this workload, then it may crash. Okay, it may result in server reboot or server shutdown or some problems, right? So this is the business load which should be handled by what do you call it, enterprise level operating system. Okay, okay. So Red Hat, the offering is called Red Hat Enterprise Linux. It is meant for the servers, and the best part is all the servers running on Red Hat Linux or even Linux operating system, those servers mostly are secure in the sense, the antivirus and all is not required. But yes, solutions are created just to make sure things work fine. Okay. Secondly, they have their own really robust system of permissions, permission management, ACLs, special permissions, and all. Okay, so all all in all, it's a great package to host an application in a secure manner. Okay, all right. So this is a brief story of Red Hat and RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, so if you talk about what are the other versions of Linux which are available in the market, because you might have heard about them. Okay, for example, you might have heard about Ubuntu or Fedora or CentOS or Arch Linux, Mint Linux, right? So what are these? These are called distributions. Okay, separate group of developers. They download Linux kernel, make changes, add new UI components, and then they distribute it for free to the make it available for free, and then users can use it. Okay, so Red Hat deals with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, then there is Ubuntu. Okay, and then there is Arch Linux, Mint Linux. So these are all different teams. It's not under one umbrella. But yes, under Red Hat, CentOS is there, Fedora Linux is there. Okay, so they all come under Red Hat family. Okay, so Red Hat family includes uh, first of all the Fedora, then CentOS, and then Red Hat operating system. Red Hat is the stable product, stable in the sense it can be used on production servers. CentOS is a kind of a testing platform for Red Hat. They test changes which are meant for Red Hat RHEL. Okay, if the testing is done successfully, then the changes are moved to the RHEL version. Okay, and then there is Fedora. Fedora is the what do you call it? The first level of testing operating system. Whatever happens, whatever new feature is going to be introduced, will be implemented on Fedora. Testing will be done, then to CentOS, then finally applied on Red Hat operating system. This is how things work. Okay, or we can say the development cycle works, right? Okay, so Linux operating system is for everyone. Number one. Okay, even your Android phones, the Android operating system is based on Linux. Okay, Linux kernel. Okay, so you can use it on your laptop. Let's say you have a laptop 10-15 years old and you wish to use it, you wish to extract the best out of it, the maximum performance out of it. You can download and install Linux operating system. Which one? You can use Fedora, you can use Arch Linux, you can use Mint Linux. There are so many options available. And these days, uh, the UI are highly tuned to mimic either Mac OS or Windows, like that. Okay, so the good part is Linux operating system doesn't need, you know, big memory sticks. Let's say 8 GB, 16 GB. No, it can function with 2 GB, 4 GB as well, right? I'm talking about end users. But when we talk about the companies, so yeah, for the companies, there are some hardware requirements, which I'll tell you shortly when we install Linux operating system. Okay. So for the companies, for the organizations, if they want to use Linux operating system on their server, they need to use either RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, or SUSE Linux, or Ubuntu Server, like that. There are many options. Okay. So which is used the most? So I'll explain you in the next slide. Okay. Before I go to the next slide, one more thing. You know supercomputers, right? So most of the supercomputers are running on Linux. Even the stock exchanges, they also have Linux operating system on their servers. Even NASA uses Red Hat Linux on their servers. Okay, not all of their servers, but yes, few of this, couple of this, not couple, but yes, I don't know the number, but they're using it, right? Uh, Big names like Facebook, IBM, Dell, they all use Linux operating system on their servers, right? And what is the importance of Linux knowledge? Let's say you know Linux operating system, then what? Then you can get into cloud computing domain, cybersecurity, network and IT infrastructure, let's say automation and deployment and all. Okay, and open source technologies, Android and embedded technologies, high performance computing, all these domains are then open for you. Okay, it's not just like you will be applying for Linux administrator profile. No, if you have the Linux skill, you can then jump into maybe cybersecurity. In fact, you should learn cybersecurity at this age, because cloud computing is okay, you can learn it, but right now the most important part is the security. Okay, so a bit of security knowledge, cybersecurity knowledge with the Linux, it's a great combination. Okay, all right. So um, just a second. All right. So now let's talk about, when I said open source, right? Open source is meant to be free. You can download the source code, you can use it. In fact, modify the source code, create a new product out of it, and then distribute it for free. So which means Linux should be free, right? Linux operating system should be free. Yes, it is free, but there is a catch. For example, let's say CentOS. You can download CentOS for free. You can use it for free. But when it comes to troubleshooting, let's say you got stuck with some, let's say there is some issue and the operating system is not working as desired. There are some issues and you wish CentOS team should troubleshoot it. It won't happen because CentOS will not provide any support. Okay, so you can download for free, use for free, but there is no support. Okay, in order to get your issue fixed, you need to rely on the online forums. You go online, search for the problem. If you're lucky, you'll get the solution. Okay, but you cannot contact CentOS team and ask for help, right? On the similar ground, there are the other operating systems which are for free, need not to pay anything. Okay, then comes the operating systems with support. For example, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So here also you can download it for free, use it for free, but the support is paid. Okay, so what else is paid? So download and use is free, that's fine. But when it comes to updates, operating system updates, and support, vendor support. So these two elements are not free. These are paid components. Okay. Right. So what happens is when companies go for RHEL operating system, the current version is version 10, which was recently released, and the industry is on version 9. Okay, so we'll learn version 9. Also, I'll introduce you guys to version 10 as well, and we'll do some quick comparisons and all. So if I think there is something new which you should know from version 10, then I'll explain. Okay, but otherwise, the industry is on version 8 and version 9. Okay, and version 10 is really fresh. I mean, like 1 month fresh. So nobody is going to migrate their entire infrastructure on RHEL 10 immediately. It will take time, maybe 1 year or 2 years. Then they'll go slowly on version 10, right? So paid operating system updates and paid support. How is it managed? It is managed with the help of subscription. Okay. So the companies, the organizations need to pay the subscription fee, and in return, they will get timely operating system updates and the vendor support. And it's a recurring fee, which means every year subscription needs renewal, right? So this is the costing. I mean, this is the cost mechanism using which Red Hat is earning. Okay, RHEL is not their only product. They have multiple products in their catalog. Okay, and the fundamental is again the same. Pick up the best of the best open source application, convert it into enterprise level application. Okay, and then charge for the support and all. Okay, which makes sense because in the organizations, you will see most of the software which are being used maybe on the server, even on your office provided laptop. All those applications will be with vendor support. Okay, so nothing is like completely free, because in the case of, let's say troubleshooting scenarios, then immediately vendor is called and they are basically going to fix the issue. Okay, companies don't like wasting time, so most of the applications whatever you use will come with vendor support. Okay, although for startups, open source alternatives are the best options, which I can understand. But yes, when it comes to service industry, where solution has to be within an hour or within 2 hours or even less, then you just can't wait for the for your resources to troubleshoot, take days of time, and then provide a solution. Instead, go to the vendor and ask for the solution. Okay, so every time you will see that most of the services, applications, operating system, they will be with vendor support every time. Okay. Okay, so if we are learning RHEL, do we need to pay to Red Hat? No. There is a model called free subscription, 1 year free subscription. So what we will do is we will register on Red Hat as developer. Okay, when we register on Red Hat as developer, we get 1 year subscription for free. Okay, so this free subscription, after 1 year, you can just simply renew it. Okay, it is that easy. Just one click and the subscription gets renewed. You don't have to worry about paying anything. Also, you can run 16 RHEL servers with this free subscription. Now, this option or this alternative is really good for startups. Startups which cannot afford to pay the subscription fee, recurring subscription fee for, let's say, 10 servers of whatever they have set up for their startup. If the servers are like less than equal to 16, they can go for this 1 year free subscription. Although the vendor support will be limited. It's not on high priority vendor support. It will be a limited vendor support, but at the same time, they'll start getting the updates for free. Okay. So this is a good alternative, and we'll be doing that. So we'll get 1 year subscription and we can run multiple virtual machines. We can install Red Hat operating system on top of it and start learning. Okay. Okay, so when it comes to learning, there is the table of content, and after learning, there is the RHCSA exam. Okay, so let's talk about the table of contents. What are we going to learn? Let me open the TOC. Just a minute. Okay, so Linux fundamentals and the preparation for RHCSA exam will be done within 50 to 55 hours of time. Since it's a weekend batch, so we are going to utilize 1.5 to 2 hours per weekend, which means Saturday, let's say 2 hours, and Sunday 2 hours. So it becomes like 4 hours in a week. Okay. And we will be covering 50 to 55 hours in total. Sometimes maybe within 45 hours will be done, or sometime it takes more than 55 hours, depending on the interest of the students. Okay. Because most of the time students are like, I need to practice more. Can you have some more examples? So what we do is we create more labs, more lab practice labs, right? And then we perform those things, right? So which will take time. So And obviously there will be multiple practice sessions in the middle. Okay, so let's get into the modules first. What are we going to learn? So starting with the essential tools, which are just the basic commands, like how to log in, log out, how to handle files, okay, how to modify the files, and yeah, how to create directories. What is a directory? A folder, like you say, a folder in Windows. Okay, similarly, directories or directory in Linux. How to change permissions, how to get help in Linux, all those things, the basic stuff. Okay. Then create simple shell script. So shell script is nothing. It's a file which contains all the commands in a specific order or a sequence, which can help in automation. Okay. Let's say you want to create a folder, enter the folder, create a file, open the file, type something, and save the file. And you have to do it every day, multiple times a day. Then you can create a shell script, write all those commands, and then simply run the file. It will do that for you. No need to run those 4 or 5 commands again and again, right? So this is called shell script. And in shell script, there are various components like variables, parameters, loops, if condition, like that. So we'll be exploring all of those things. Okay. So this is not immediately to be done. We'll be first covering 50% of the course, then we'll jump into shell script. Okay. Then operate running systems. Okay, so operate running system means what? It means uh, to understand how operating system starts, which is called the booting process. Okay, how CPU functions, what are the processes, how to handle the processes. Okay, how to manage the performance of the server with tuning profiles, right? How to check logs on the server, like if something is happening on a server, that event will be stored as a log, okay, in the log file, right? So the event can be something successfully done, failure, error, all these things are basically captured as logs. Okay, start and stop services, and yeah, so things around this, right? So this is the module. Then next one is configure local storage. Local storage means what? It means the hard disk. Okay, so how to handle how to handle the hard disk, how to partition it and then use it. See, when you have a hard disk, it's not like you simply start using it. Let's say you just purchased a new external hard disk. You connect it to the USB, okay, and you start using it. So what is going in the background? In the background, one partition will be created out of this external disk. Let's say you got 500 GB disk. So when you start using it, automatically one partition will be created of the same size, and then you will be working on that partition. You never use the complete disk, or we can say the disk without a partition. Okay, right? So same thing on a Linux server. When you have a hard disk connected, how do you handle it? Okay, on one hard disk, let's say operating system is installed, and then how do you manage the second hard disk? Okay, so you identify the disk, um, create partitions, apply the file system, and then start using it. So there are some steps that you'll learn in configure local storage, right? Then deploy, configure, and maintain systems. It means installation of application servers, for example, database, web server, monitoring server, backup server. All these are servers, right? And then when you install it, you have to manage its service, that the service should be up and running. Okay, it should be able to talk to the client, all those things. So installation, removal, update, all these things will be covered in this module. Next one is manage networking. So manage networking, don't take it as a complete CCNA level knowledge. As a system administrator, you should be well versed with basic terminologies like IP address, subnet mask, gateway, broadcast address, DNS, name servers, protocols, and ports. That's it. Okay. So this is the basic information that you should know. If you know it already, good. If you don't, no worries. I'll tell you. At the same time, we'll be, with every module, there are multiple exercises and labs. So obviously, you'll get to know what's happening, right? Also, when we talk about networking, we also need to talk about firewall. Okay, so network data or network packet filtering is done with the help of firewall. So within operating system Linux, in fact, all the operating systems have their own software called firewall. Using that, at the OS level, you can do the filtering of network packets. Okay, so yes, we will also learn how firewall works within RHEL operating system. Then there is manage user and groups. And guys, these modules are not listed in order. We'll be following a different order while learning because we need to start from scratch, which means first of all the basics, the file handling and all. Then we'll jump into understanding how the user management works, then permission management, and so on. Okay, so forget about this order. Just focus on the modules. Then the next module is manage user and groups. Here you will learn how to create a user, how to create a group, how to manage users and groups, etc., etc. Okay, so there are multiple things here, not only adding a user or adding a group, but a thing called sudo, okay, which is really important. Then manage security. When we talk about security in Linux, there are different components. One is file permissions. Second one is SELinux, and third one is firewall. Okay, so this module manage security is about SELinux. So security enhanced Linux. It's like a watchman within your building who is checking who is going in, who is going out, right? And who is doing what. The same thing SELinux is going to check what is happening within the operating system, who is doing what. So we'll see how it works. Okay, it's very important to understand and learn. And lastly, manage containers. Containerization is the next level of virtualization. Like you create virtual machine, okay, that is virtualization. So next level of virtualization is containers. How containers work, what is the requirement of a container, why it is popular. Okay, so after learning Linux, when you continue your learning in containers, you'll get ready for the industry. Trust me. If you spend 50 hours more in OpenShift, again, it is from Red Hat OpenShift. If you learn Red Hat OpenShift, you'll learn how containers work. Container is not one single thing, but when we say auto scaling in containers or creating clusters in containers, then it means you need to learn more. Okay. At this level, at RHCSA level, we'll be learning containers as an introduction to containers, how to create your own container image, how to deploy the container image, how to maintain it, etc., etc. So we'll learn all these things. All right. So this is the overall, we can say curriculum. And all of these concepts, all of these bullet points are very important to learn if you wish to clear the RHCSA exam. Okay, so after learning Linux, what next? Yes, you can go for the job hunting, that's fine. Or you can continue learning the containers and other related technologies, that's fine. But when you start the job hunting, on most of the job descriptions, you will see RHCSA certification mandatory, RHCE certification mandatory, like that. So if this certification is mandatory, then you should also go for it, right? I mean, again, it's optional, but if you wish to, you can. So let me also tell you about the RHCSA certification. Red Hat Certified System Administrator. Again, this certification is directly from Red Hat. Red Hat is the vendor of RHEL operating system, right? So if you want to get certified, you need to be well versed with these topics these are the topics, right? So when you're comfortable with these topics, you can attempt this exam. So the exam format is really simple. It's a 3-hour exam. I think 18 to 19 questions in total. There will be 2 virtual machines where you will perform the solution. Now, these are not like multiple choice questions. No, these are practical scenarios. Let me give you example. Example is a question is run a web server on the port number 100. No, sorry, port number, let's say 82. And the home page of the website should say hello world. Okay, so you need to first of all install the web server application. Okay, configure it, make sure it runs on port number 82, and then create a web page index.html which says hello world. So it's a multi-step procedure. Okay, and you need to perform that during the exam. Okay. If you don't know how to install something, then you'll get stuck. Okay. If you don't know how to, edit text files, then you're gonna stuck, right? So all of these components, these are tightly integrated together, the modules which I displayed, right? So RHCS exam is close to practical scenarios. First of all, when you clear the exam, you basically prove that you're ready for the real servers. You're ready to work on the real servers. Okay, so this is the benefit you get out of certification. Okay, so there is a question from Nimi. Nimi is asking, this is offensive or defensive? Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you please elaborate? Okay, so till then, let me go to the next second question, which is, hi Vishal, wanted to know for this course covered both. Yes, this course is going to cover both Red Hat RH124 and RH134. These are basically two books, you can say, and the overall RHCSA knowledge is spread across these two books, RH124 and RH134. And yes, we'll be learning both of them. Okay, and we are going to prepare for the exam. Don't worry. And preparation is in the sense that we'll be practicing the pattern, okay, and the approach on how to attempt the exam, which will help you prepare better and ensure that you clear the exam within the first attempt. Okay. Okay, so how long is the certification valid in terms of years? See, the certification is valid for the next two versions. Let's say you get certified in 9. So till RHL 11, the certification will be valid. But for me, as an instructor, I need to certify with every version. Okay, let's say I certified in RHL 8, then I had to certified in 9 and then now in 10. Okay. But for you, don't worry. For the next two versions, it will be valid. Name is asking, like, can it be used in red team? Red team, what red team? Sorry, Nibi. What is the red team you're talking about? Okay. Another one. Is it good idea to take CEH after RHCSA? Absolutely. If you really want to build your career in cybersecurity, go for it. See, in cybersecurity, I don't think RHCSA is that mandatory, but yes, CEH will be mandatory. So knowledge of Linux is good with CEH certification. That will be the combination for you, right? But if you, let's say, if you want to go for Linux administrator job profile, or maybe Ansible automation engineer job profile, then yes, I'll also, introduce you guys to Ansible as well. Just give me a moment. Okay. All right. So this is how it works. Okay. When it comes to the preparation of the exam, yes, as I said, this entire course is designed for RHCSA certification. Okay, so Linux knowledge is part of it. Obviously, Linux fundamentals is part of it. But otherwise, this complete course is meant for the preparation of RHCSA, and which comes towards the end of the course. Okay, so first we complete the topics, and then there is a session of practice. Okay, multiple questions, and then finally the exam scenario, how it looks like. In fact, these days we have official Red Hat's official videos also on YouTube that you can check, but no worries. I'll explain you step by step how it works. Okay, starting from booking the exam and then attempting the exam, the approach, and the important points to keep in mind before you attempt the questions. Okay, with every questions, there is going to be a catch. Catch in the sense, if you miss the point, if you miss the command, you might lose marks, entire marks in some cases. Okay. All right. So, okay. So what after Linux? Let's say right now, you know bit of Linux. Then what? Then you have two options. In fact, three options. One is get into containerization. Okay. Second is get into automation. Automation means after learning Linux, you can design automations which will help Linux administrators to save time and do their job. For example, um, there is a requirement to update all Linux servers. Okay, let's say there are 100 Linux servers and there are only 2 in the team. So they're going to update all these 100 Linux servers. Yes, they can do that. They'll manually log in, run the command, reboot the server. That's fine. But if you know Ansible automation, okay, if you know Ansible automation, Ansible is again a product from Red Hat. It's an open source application. Red Hat provides support, also contributes to this project. Okay. So if you know Ansible, you can design an automation with Ansible, which will update the server. After update, it will reboot the server. And after reboot, it will print the version of the operating system. Okay. Print, let's say print info. Okay. And this automation can be executed by any one of the team member, and they just have to then check how the automation is working. That's it. They don't have to do anything manually. Although, let's say after the reboot, the server got stuck. Yes, in that case, they need to troubleshoot and fix. That's a separate issue. But otherwise, they will save a lot of time. Okay. So Ansible is something which is again in demand. Automation is in demand. AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and automation. These 3 areas are in demand. Okay. If you're still working in conventional methods like manual methods, you're running the commands manually, then you'll be obsolete really soon. Okay. This is the time to quickly change the methodology, switch to automation. Okay. And with the help of Ansible, you can do that. Ansible is not only for Linux operating system automation. Ansible can be used for everything. Windows Server automation, Linux server automation, network automation, cloud automation, you name it, you can do it. Okay. So all these options are with Ansible, right? And the good part is with fundamentals of Linux course or RHCSA preparation course, I'm going to teach you Ansible. I think 20 to 30% of the Ansible I'm going to teach you here. Okay. So it's a complementary, or we can say the bonus content for you. Okay. So you will learn how to install Ansible, how to configure it, how to start your automation. This will really help you when it comes to, uh, interviews and all. Okay. So if you mention Ansible as a skill, provided you have actually practiced it. Okay. If you mention it, they would like to hire you because you know Linux and you know Ansible. You will be a great asset in the team. Okay. So they will basically be really interested in you, provided you give them correct answers. Okay. So Ansible is a key tool or key skill here. Containerization is a key skill here. Bash shell scripting is a key skill, and Linux server or Linux operating system is a key skill. So by learning Linux fundamentals, you are going to get these 4 key skills. Containerization as a beginner level, Ansible as a beginner level, Linux as an intermediate to advanced level, not advanced, but yes, intermediate level, and shell scripting as an intermediate level. Okay, so these are the skills that you will acquire. Okay, and yes, you will be certification ready. You will be able to clear the certification. Trust me. When we start classes, I'll give you more information about that. Okay. Okay, there is one more chat. Okay, so maybe you're referring to the ethical hackers and all. Okay. See, when we talk about Linux operating system will help you learn the basic commands, okay, basic tool sets. And when you get into, let's say, what do you call it, Kali Linux. So Kali Linux has many tools, right? So Kali Linux, again, it's a Linux operating system, right? If you know Linux, you will be able to work on Kali operating system. And then there are some tools, then you have to learn those tools, right? So it's not like Red Hat Linux is part of any red team or blue team. It is the skill. Okay, just like you run Windows, just like you use Windows. Windows is meant for uh, end users with intuitive UI and all. So you rarely use commands in Windows. I don't think any of you use commands in Windows. But if you are a Windows Server administrator, you will be using commands. You will be using PowerShell and all to speed up your work, right? Although when you install some penetration testing tools, on any operating system, then you have to learn the tool first, and then you decide what to do with it. Okay, so a Linux operating system is not a tool, it is the platform. It is the platform, then you install tools on it. You can install maybe penetration testing tool, or maybe some application server like a database server, or maybe a web server to host a website, and so on. Okay. All right. So I hope I was able to answer the question. All right. Let me see one thing. Okay, so if you're wondering, what about the job opportunities? See, as a fresher, if you right now search Linux skill as a fresher on any of the job portal, you'll see minimum 1,000 jobs are there. Minimum 1,000. So every day you'll see minimum 700 to 1,000 jobs are still there, and you can apply. If you have experience, let's say 1 year or more, then you'll see the number growing, maybe 5,000 to 10,000, something like that. Okay. So it's not like right now the Linux administrator skill is at its peak. No, because there are servers, and to handle the servers, we need system administrators, right? So that's why, the system administrator job opening is always there. Okay. It's not like something that recently a new technology has been introduced and all of a sudden all the companies are, looking for Linux administrators. No, it's not like that. Okay, so it's all time stable. And if you know Red Hat Linux operating system as a fresher, then you can easily crack a job. Okay, so uh, and guys, again, as I said, don't just stick to Linux. Linux is a good platform, nice, but have additional skills as well. Okay, so either you just continue learning with automation, Ansible automation, or containerization, or even cloud, maybe AWS, Azure. There are so many options. Okay, and then you go out in the market for job hunting. All right. So many more things to discuss. We'll obviously discuss when we start the classes properly. I think which will happen next week or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I'll have to ask the team. Okay. So this was the overall demo introduction. Let me now get into the demonstration. Okay, so when it comes to demonstration, let me just open the virtual machine. Okay, so I have installed Red Hat 10 on a virtual machine. Let me start it. We'll be learning Red Hat 9. I just wanted to show you how Red Hat 10 looks like. I think there is some problem. Let me start Red Hat 9 then. Okay. I think there is some problem with the RHCL 10 on this virtual machine. It's in beta, I guess. So I need to install the release version. All right. So when you start Red Hat Linux operating system in GUI mode, you get this login page. Okay. So I have already created a user by the name student. The password is, I think, Red Hat. Yeah. So this is it. This is the main page, or we can say the desktop. Okay. See, normally as a Linux administrator, you won't be using GUI, but yes, for the start, we will stick to GUI and then eventually transition to pure CLI. Pure CLI is the command line interface, like this, and then we run the commands. Okay, and we don't really open this what do you call it, console. This is the graphical console where you get to see the output, the visual output of your virtual machine. We will in fact use Microsoft Terminal application. Using Microsoft Terminal application from Windows, we will connect to this virtual machine using SSH, and then we will run the commands. Okay. So this comes later, obviously. Okay, so just a quick overview. What is this? So yeah, this is the desktop. Just like on your operating system, you have a start button and all. Okay. Likewise, there is activities at the top left. You see activities option. Click on it, and then you will get to see a dock at the bottom. Firefox is already there, pre-installed. Firefox for Linux. Then files, just like you have Explorer, My Computer, similarly files. Software, just like you have Microsoft Store to install applications, right? Similarly, software. Then help, this is the inbuilt help, online help, I guess. How to use Linux, okay, Red Hat Linux, the help. Next one is terminal. Terminal is that application where you will type the command. This is the CLI, command line interface. Okay, so command line interface is provided to you by the application named as terminal. And the same terminal is with Windows also now. Okay, Microsoft terminal. And then you have these 9 dots. These are show applications button. This is the show applications button. Click on it. And then you get to see the remaining applications. Okay. You click on settings, just like control panel you have in Windows. Okay. So all the settings are here on the left. You can change network settings, background notification, multitasking, privacy, display, power. There are so many things. Okay. You can manage. Right. At the same time, in the center, top center, you have this date and time. Click on it. It will obviously expand, and then you will see the notifications on the left, calendar on the right. And then right hand side is a group of icons, network, audio, and power. Click on it. It's a group, so click anywhere, doesn't matter. It will show you a drop down. In this drop down, there are settings for wired connection, which is the network. Then the profile, balanced, power saver. These are the profiles, just like you have on your laptop, right? Settings, the same settings page. Lock is the lock the screen, and then power and log out. Yeah, so suspend is hibernate, restart, power off, log out, and switch user. Okay. Switch user is log out as one user and become some other user. Log out is completely log out. Power off, you know that shut down. Restart is reboot. Suspend, just like hibernate. Okay. So these are the options. And once we are through, basic stuff, we'll be sticking to this terminal application because we need it to run the commands. Okay, so you can run the commands, you can get the output, and you can also design scripts which run on the CLI and which give you the desired result. Let's say, for example, connect to 10 servers and extract the user information, like how many users are created on all those 10 servers. You can run a shell script. Although you can also run Ansible playbook, that's fine. But within Linux operating system, you can run a shell script, which can connect to the servers one by one, run a command on the server, extract the output, and save the output on your system, right? So all of this with the commands within the command line interface. All right. So this will be the objective. So yeah, so this is the overview, guys. Next time we meet, we are going to start with how to create your own virtual machine, which means you register as Red Hat developer. Okay. After registering as Red Hat developer, you get free subscription. Then you download RHCL9 DVD ISO file. Using the ISO file, you are going to deploy the operating system on a virtual machine. And then we are going to install this VMware Workstation. It's a free tool. Using this, you can create virtual machines. Okay. So you create a blank virtual machine, use the DVD ISO file, start the installation, and we will install Red Hat Linux in automated mode, which means no intervention required. Simply you have to select maybe the host name, etc. Just next, finish. Okay. It will take 15 to 20 minutes of time and your machine will be ready with the operating system. So that will be our goal for the next, when we start, the proper classes. All right. So yeah, guys, so this is it for today. There is one more chat. Let me address it. Oh, no, there is no chat. Okay, so yeah, so I've just got the information. Next class will be from next weekend, and next weekend, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay. Again, I said it's going to be a 50-hour duration course. We might finish within 45 hours, 50 hours, or 55 hours. So just keep in mind. All right. So within these 50 hours, we're going to learn plenty of things. Not the basics, but we'll try to dig deep in a way that conceptually you know things. The main essence is the concept. It's not like learning commands will make you a good administrator. No. Learning the concepts and understanding the concept will make you a good administrator. Okay. Now, these days you can simply use Gemini and do the job. Yeah, that's fine. But whether Gemini is giving you correct responses, so how would you figure it out? If you don't know the fundamentals, if you don't know the concept, then you will get stuck. And then you have to blindly copy paste the commands. Okay. So the fundamentals is the key. I'll try to demonstrate the concepts in images and all. Okay. And also the PPTs which I have designed for this course include my personal experience as well. Like in these 13 years, whatever complexity I faced, I have added them as a piece of, we can say, chapter or a module. All right. So going forward, I'll be explaining you how things are done in the companies. Okay. So how you work as a Linux administrator. What are the prerequisites? And what do you want, what you should understand regarding companies, processes, and policies. Okay, security components as well. Okay, so it will be all covered within the course. All right, so yeah, so this is it, guys, for today. There is one more chat, guys. Hold on. Okay, so Nimmi is asking, isn't Kali Linux more useful than RHCEL? Yes, it is. Red Hat Enterprise Linux is for servers where you host applications. Kali Linux is for those users who are into penetration testing. Okay. So if you are into penetration testing, cybersecurity, you will be using Kali Linux on your laptop. Okay. That Kali Linux operating system will host number of tools. Using that tools, you'll be connecting to those servers which are running some sort of applications with vulnerabilities in their ports or within the application. And then you might be exposing them. You might be troubleshooting, fixing things, or just simply attack. Okay. So knowledge of Linux is the base. Okay, so Jay is asking, will you cover RHCSA and RHCE? RHCSA is covered in this course, but I'll help you with 20 to 30% of RHCE course as well, which is the Ansible course as well. Okay, so starting from the installation, configuration, playbooks, inventories, all these things will be covered within this course regarding Ansible. So it's a kind of a bonus course. Okay. Otherwise, we have a separate course of RHCE, which is a full-fledged 50-hour duration course, which is on weekdays, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. starting next week, Monday. Okay. So next week, Monday is what? What is the date? 7th July, 8 p.m. onwards, we are starting a fresh batch